What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. Today, I want to talk about the 5 biggest mistakes I think people make in relationships. The first is expecting your partner to be everything. Yes, your partner can provide a lot of things: love, fun, good time, support. They can't be everything, though. And I think most importantly, they can't be your therapist. Your insecurities, your traumas, things you need to work on are things you need to heal, you need to work on your own time. And whatever means that is, whether it's a support group, therapy, journaling. Where I see this a lot is trust issues. It's not your partner's job to solve your trust issues. Obviously, if your partner does something to warrant a discussion or a creation of doubt, obviously you guys will have to talk about that. But in general, with no cause for concern, trust issues that are in your head, say from your own insecurity, of self image, or from past relationships, maybe something happened, that stuff you have to work on yourself. That's not their problem. I think a lot of people expect partners to solve everything for them. That's not their job. Number two is sort of in the same vein, thinking your partner is your happiness. Your happiness needs to come from you. You need to internally be happy. Certainly, your partner can add to your happiness, but I think if they are your happiness, that can get to you know leading to a large amount of codependency, which can then lead to unhealthy boundaries, because you will then rely on them entirely to make you happy, which is never a good thing. The third thing I would say is expecting your partner to behave the way you want them to in your head. Based on our childhoods and what we've watched from our parents, we want the person in our relationship sometimes to act a certain way or to be a certain way in the way that we've thought of them. And sometimes, we project that. I think certain things, obviously, compromises can happen in terms of behaviors and things of that nature. But I think major aspects of personality, um, type of humor, religious beliefs, like things like that don't tend to change. And you don't want them to change, most importantly. Your partner is who they are because they've always stayed authentic to themselves. Let them be who they are. Love them for who they are. You know, don't try to change them into, the perfect version you have in your head. That doesn't exist. You have to love them for the person they are. The fourth thing I would say is not pursuing outside activities outside of the relationship. This relates to number two, but I think, generally, right, the biggest way, for example, in a professional setting, that burnout happens is putting too much time and stress on your work and not having much balance. And I think that can apply to relationships. I mean, I think making time for life without your significant other, um, is important, is good. Spending every hour, outside of work with your partner probably isn't the healthiest thing to do. Um, and I think doing things, you know, that are just for you or just for them, it, it, it allows them to continue to be themselves, right? If one person has an obsession, um, with Disney, and the other one doesn't, and sort of they compromise and spend like some time watching Disney. The reality is, like, that person that loves Disney should continue to do, like, watch Disney, outside of, the shared time of watching, movies or TV shows together. Or, if there's another outside activity like karate or basketball that you may not necessarily share with your partner, but it's important for you to continue to do those things because that's a part of your identity, and you don't want to lose your identity. And the final thing I'd say is not having honest communications. When something bothers you or upsets you, talk about it, you know, pretty recent after it happens, within a reasonable time frame. Our generation hates confrontation. We're afraid of it. Um, we tend to bottle things up or we tell our friends our problems. We often don't have the courage to tell our significant others. And I understand that. It's tough. You love them. You don't like fights. You don't want to bring down their day. Um, but the reality is, the more that you let things go, the more resentment will build up. Um, so if there are little things that happen over a course of a couple of years, that resentment will grow. Um, and I think that can lead to a blowing out point later on. And in that blowing out point, your partner's not really going to relate because some of the things you might have been resentful for might be from, like, you know, months or years ago. So these are the 5 things that I think are the biggest mistakes people make in relationships. Um, Expecting your partner to be everything, thinking your partner is happiness, expecting your partner to behave in the way that you have them in your head, not pursuing activities outside of the relationship, and not having honest communications. Clearly, I guess, from 1 through 4, a lot of this is about, you know, maintaining your individuality, maintaining that a human being is just a human being. They're not, they can't be everything in life. Um, and I think, communication with the last one, that's everything. Um, in regards to, successful long-term relationships have to communicate well. So let me know what you think. If you have a different opinion that you'd like to add, or if you think I missed something, feel free to let me know. I'm happy to add to this list, but these are the 5 that I've kind of seen, recently pop into my head. Thanks, guys.